Good afternoon. I'll take your questions.
Eric, when you look ahead to this matchup on Thursday night, with what they do with Smith and Jigba, what are the challenges to presenting or to just kind of containing him with the way Geno finds him so far?
No question. Just making sure that on some of the deeper routes, on some of the things that challenge the underneath part of your coverage, that we maintain discipline in our drops. And then everything will start with our ability to affect the quarterback. We have to do that. DK and Jackson, a dynamic pair, different skill sets, but they really challenge your ability to maintain your route, your coverage discipline. So we have to do a really good job with that.
What stands out about Geno?
Arm talent, the velocity. He can make any throw. He's really confident in his arm, and very strong. He can fit it in tight spaces. He doesn't want to run, but he's got enough athletic ability to move around the pocket and to prevent you from getting a clean shot on him.
What's the difference between the two running backs they use?
One's a downhill player, just a downhill physical guy. Breaks a lot of tackles, a lot of yards after contact, and then they have the other back is got more speed, more edge speed, the ability to get outside, and a better receiver for him.
The last couple of weeks, third and longs have been an issue in spots. Are you seeing a common denominator in those moments?
Sure. We got to affect the quarterback first of all. We have to make sure that that we maintain our leverage when the ball is thrown underneath, especially at 11 plus. Normally, teams will default to some type of underneath shallow route or some type of screen route to the running back. We have to make sure that we don't overcompensate and lose our underneath coverage discipline as it pertains to our drops. But you have to affect the quarterback. The situation we had last week, the quarterback held the ball for 5 seconds. That'll break down any coverage concept.
What have you picked up on Randy Grubb's offense, just the hallmarks of it in his first season?
Yeah, well, number one, there's a lot of movement pre-snap, and so they're going to challenge your readiness, and we talked about that. We have to make sure that as the parts are moving, that the final alignment, the final arrangement they have, we understand exactly what we're doing as far as our assignments are concerned. There are those things. They're going to scheme to get the ball to DK. We know that. And then they do a good job of running the football. It's a balanced offense. They operate mostly out of 11 and 12 personnel. They have a lot of versatility in both of those personnel groups, and they'll throw a lot of things at you.
What do you appreciate most about TJ and just the way he seems to show up each week?
Yeah, just an intense guy, highly intelligent, accountable, leader through his actions. You can really depend on him, really good communicator into the boundary in terms of getting you information as far as what they're seeing and how that can affect our plan going forward or the adjustments that we need to make.
With Grubb in particular, do you lean on Roan at all as somebody who played for him last year?
Well, you could. Anytime that we have people on our roster who have competed with a player, we certainly go and do our due diligence as far as those things are concerned. And then there's just plenty of film to look at, plenty of things for us to dive into and to break down to continue to build the profile of that particular player.
What are you hoping to get out of this week and maybe just the last 2 weeks in general for the defense?
Yeah, I want us to not have self-inflicted situations. I want us to limit the points, to give ourselves a chance to win a football game in the fourth quarter, or to provide the kind of explosive plays that will make the game lopsided in our favor. But just to stop the points, limit the points that they get. They're going to make a play. This is the National Football League, but we can't yield 25, 30 points a game and expect to win.
When you say self-inflicted, is that does that fall under discipline? Does that fall how would you further elaborate on what you mean by that?
Yeah, just making sure that we stay out of our own way, that the execution is flawless, that we don't have issues with pre-snap discipline. We saw that play out last week on 4th down and 1, and that the execution is there, the tackling is there, everything fundamentally that you need to do to put yourself in the best position to create negative plays against the offense, to get off the field, to give our offense more opportunities. And that starts with me.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. And I guess we'll just open it up.
Chris, on the 4th and 1 on Sunday, that Rome got the one-on-one matchup up the right sideline, what did you like about the way he won both with the route and at the catch point?
Yeah, everything really. That was kind of how we designed it. Was hoping we'd get that matchup, and we were able to take advantage of it. Did a great job on his release, and was able to stack him to be able to post him up and present a big target for the quarterback, and then did a great job of high pointing it. I mean, he had a couple, third, fourth down catches that were big time for us, and so that was obviously a huge one.
How do you describe sort of the calculated gamble in that situation of 4th and short and having a matchup that you know can get you a chunk?
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things. That's what we saw on film, so we felt like it was what we were going to get, and we were trying to dictate that. Obviously you always want to try to throw something safe, but at the same time, it's hard to get those chunk plays. So, and it's hard to create matchups that you like, and so that was definitely one of them that we were planning on all week.
Keenan Allen's had some of his better games the last couple of weeks. Is there anything that you would say accounts for that, especially this last week?
I think the game plan part of it's been a little bit different since the change, as far as how we put the pass game together. And he's playing well. I think he probably has some he wish he could get back from the Vikings game. But I think he's doing what Keenan Allen does and making plays, and we're trying to make sure that we develop some things to be able to make sure that those guys are in a position to be successful. So the last couple weeks has been pretty good.
Caleb talked yesterday about wanting to be more efficient, and he said that goes beyond just throwing the football. It's pre-snap, it's not fumbling, it's it's the cadence, all that sort of stuff. What does efficiency look like to you?
Yeah, I would say a lot of it is the tempo, the rhythm. That's kind of where we've been lacking almost all season, to be honest. As far as just getting out of the huddle, being crisp, getting a call and understanding it. And that's part of being a rookie quarterback and a new system for him and all those things. The NFL is hard. And at the end of the day, trying to be efficient and trying to move efficiently are two different things, and we're not quite where we want to be, obviously. But I think he's gotten better at it, and I think that's shown out, over time. But there's still a lot of growth to be made in that part of it too.
There was a period of time back when Shane was here that going no huddle seemed to help him just kind of identify things. It seemed like the league kind of caught up with him a little bit in that regard. What do you think's the right tempo for him?
Yeah, I think it's a mixture of both. I think we try to do a little bit of tempo, but those things have a limited shelf life. It's hard to be able to do that and live in it. Over time, people catch up to it. So I do think he does have some freedom in those 2 minute situations, which he's been among the best in the league in 2 minutes. So, but you also have to be able to run your offense too from a huddle and those type of things. And so we're figuring those things out as we go. I think it's all a process. And unfortunately, we don't have a whole lot much more time to be able to build that. But we'll continue to do the best we can and put him in the best position to where he has as much growth as possible.
What have you noticed with how Caleb's handled the up and down, the roller coaster of a rookie season for quarterback?
Yeah, I think he's done a solid job. I think that's hard. Like I said, there's a lot about this league that's hard. I guess that's kind of a theme every week, because there's so much to learn, and he's learning every week, and you can see that. You can hear it talking to him. Seeing pictures and seeing things like that, from defensive changes and things of that nature. He's gotten better every week. There's still a lot of growth to be made, but, like I said, that's all quarterbacks in that position. But I do think he's eager to learn and learning how to learn. I think that's a lot of it too. And that's what sometimes people understate when you're talking about the learning curve for younger quarterbacks is learning how to be a quarterback, learning how to study, learning how to prepare for the game. Those are, and what's your rhythm as opposed to what somebody else's rhythm is. We can all look at it and say, oh, this veteran did it this way. He's got to figure out what is his way.
Can you expand a little bit on that, on what the keys are into finding your particular rhythm of preparation and what really needs to come out of it?
Yeah, I think there's a daily rhythm as far as, okay, what time do I get to the facility? What am I trying to do when I get there? You know, if it's a Monday, what am I doing? If it's Wednesday, what am I doing prior to normal downs? If it's Thursday on third down, those things are all, how do you get, prepared for those things? And then it's the overall, okay, um, how do I practice getting these calls and spitting them out in a huddle? Whether am I going to record it? Am I going to say it to my girlfriend or whoever, my parents, whoever it is that I talk to? How do I practice spitting out these calls? Because it's a lot different than reading them off a board, like in college, or getting signals and never having to speak to the whole offense. It's different when you're a 21, 22-year-old young man sitting in the huddle and there's 32-year-old people sitting back looking at you, so there's a way to learn how you do that and go through your process as well.
You know, he was paired with a second-year quarterback in this quarterback room. I imagine Tyson probably, isn't as set in his ways as maybe a 5-year, 10-year vet would be. Is that hard? I mean, he didn't necessarily have somebody to mimic in terms of that weekly routine, or a veteran to mimic, I guess.
I mean, Tice is really a lot further along than you would think. Like, he's really sharp kid. So, but I do think there is something to be said for, hey, having somebody to pattern yourself after, and just to be able to throw things off of. Rip did that early when he was here, and Tice has done a nice job of helping him. And but I think at the same time, that's part of figuring out what you do best. And I think that's what he's trying to figure out, is how do I go through my process best, and what type of things do I do in that process? Because everybody's process is not the same.
Does Caleb lean on you on that, saying like, hey, how would you go about your week, or is he kind of just sort of, that's a hands-off thing that he's got to figure out on his own?
Yeah, I think he leans on all the coaches, to some extent. But I think he's a little bit of his own person too. I think you guys have talked to him. You realize can speak for himself, and so I think in the process of figuring those things out, you pick and choose what kind of things you want to do from other people, but you also figure those things out as you go, and then you tweak them as you go. I'm sure Tom Brady learned some different things along the way from different people, and as you go through them, there's things you tweak every year, to be able to adjust. So I think he's in the process of doing that.
When you look at the Seahawks D line and the interior pressure they can create, for Caleb, what are some of the keys and things that he's got to kind of try to figure out pre-snap and how to combat that?
Yeah, they give you a lot of looks up front. They do a lot of great things, and they've got some great players up front too. So being able to get us in the right protection is one, and then being able to get some depth away from the line of scrimmage is two. You can't let those guys reset the pocket back in his lap. So those things, him understanding where we need to slide and those kind of things is part of it. And then the other part is him being able to get set, get his feet, in the ground, and be able to get through his progressions quickly and get the ball out of his hands. Those are all part of it too. They got a really good scheme and some really good people taking advantage up front.
Have you looked at the differences between the offense operating at the beginning of the game when there's been struggling, and then when you kind of get going after falling behind? I mean, on paper, or just when watching the game, it just looks like the defense just kind of relaxes a little bit. You take advantage of that. But is there any rhyme or reason to it?
Yeah, I wouldn't say they're relaxing. I think, last week it was the turnovers. Obviously, were a killer. That got us behind. I think the previous 2 weeks, there was some adjustments that we needed to make faster. So I do think. I mean, we look at everything and try to learn from everything as far as how we want to try to attack people differently and be able to start faster. That's been a plague for us all season, is not being able to start fast enough. For last week, the turnovers were a big part of it. So we need to take care of the ball better, but we also need to make sure that we're aggressive with our script, which I thought last week we were. It just was one of those things where we dug ourselves a hole, and that's kind of been a theme during this little losing streak. So trying to do better this week and have a better script, and then figuring out, their adjustments to our adjustments. We've been pretty good at that part of it. It's just being able to start faster with our script.
When you have some flux on the left side of the offensive line, what is the strain inside of a short week of creating a plan and creating some momentum before Thursday arrives?
Yeah, I mean that's been a issue the last couple weeks. With Quran jumping in 2 weeks ago, kind of last minute, and then having some changes this week. At least we had a chance to prepare a little bit this time. Last time it was kind of one of those you're getting on the flight and realize there's some changes. So, obviously harder when you're not having a full week of practice, but I think at least we have a chance to be able to game plan for it and be able to make some adjustments as we go.
Thank you, Chris.
Hey, thanks, guys.
All right, afternoon. Happy holidays to you all. Obviously, it's a good uh, time of year to be very grateful for certain things and all things that you get a chance to do in this profession that we love. Players are bright-eyed, obviously bushy-tailed, very grateful right now for the opportunity to play this game on prime time. We're all grateful. Obviously, I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here and coach these guys up, to obviously the McCaskey family and everybody who's involved that giving us an opportunity to go out here and play. So don't take it for granted. Don't make light of it. Don't take it lightly at all. So again, I just wanted to say happy holidays to you guys and appreciate you guys being here, obviously on Christmas Eve when you don't have to be. With that, we can open it up to questions.
What'd you think of Tyler Scott's performance last week?
Yeah, I thought Tyler made some strides. Got that one ball out to the 31-yard line or so. He did a nice job as a gunner. Torrey hit two of those punts, and Tyler forced fair catches on both of them down there, one at the 7, one at the 12-yard line. I thought he did a really nice job with his releases at the line of scrimmage as a gunner, and I thought he did a really nice job as a returner, making really good decisions. What he will tell you is that he probably should get more on a couple of those returns, which is what we want him in that state. We always want him to get more. So he's eager, he's hungry. But I thought he had a good first outing.
You anticipate him getting more opportunities?
I do, yeah, more opportunities, and he's actually earned those opportunities. He works his tail off. He's worked his tail off in practice. He stayed patient. He never complains. Still sits in the front of the room, right in the room. Still asks questions. Still being engaged even when he was inactive. So that's impressive from that standpoint. Now we just want to see that carry over to the field and him make more plays.
Yeah, somebody like that who maybe thought he was going to get more opportunity in the second year, it doesn't happen, and then you see him acting the way he acted. That I'm assuming that goes a long way for a coach.
Yeah, it definitely does. I mean, it goes a long way just because you can always tell what kind of guys you have when you get into a time where there's adversity, controversy, conflict. What do guys? How do they display their character during that time? He's been awesome during that time. We talked last week about Dominique Robinson, being that same way and having an opportunity when he went in to make a huge play. And here Tyler, a week later, makes a couple really big plays for us to set our defense up and set our offense up. So I'm all about development. I am. Coach Polk is as well. We're all about development and helping these guys get better until they get their opportunity on offense and defense. And I don't care who's playing. I don't care how many people go down. It's our job to get them to continue to perform at a high level and contribute to the team. That's what's fun about special teams, because we get to coach everybody, So I'm happy for Tyler. Definitely happy for Dom and what he did last week as well.
Richard, with regard to what you said in the open, I've always been curious, and I've probably asked this way too many times around here, but there's already been change here. There's going to be more change, and it's been a difficult year. Is it tougher to have a Merry Christmas when there's so much uncertainty as a coach, in the situation?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question you asked, and Mark. Probably earlier in my career, I probably would feel that way. I don't feel that way at all. In fact, I almost feel like I've grown and matured as a person to where now I feel like it'd be selfish of me to think about myself or think about other coaches or think about anybody in that light. Our job is to stay here and be here for the players, and try to get them to perform at the highest level. I don't spend 1 second thinking about, oh, it's a down Christmas because we're not winning, or you know anything negative, because I want my heart full of joy and full of um, everything positive to help these guys be in the best positive state, because they only get one play to make a chance to get one chance to make a play at times. So they're very limited opportunities. It's not like offense and defense where you get second down, you get third down, so I always want them in positive attack mode at all times. And me being a leader, I have to be at that. I had to be at my best at all times. So I never let them come in the meeting room and take a day for granted. You just can't do it. You can't do it. And last in this league, I mean, like I said, I only been doing this 18 years, okay? But the people I see that have negative mindset, you got to have reality, and you got to tell people the truth, and you got to correct people. But the people that have negative mindsets, especially in this time, they'll never get their guys to keep continuing to play to the level that they need to play. And I've been happy with the way our special teams has played week in and week out through tough times. Have we had some bumps? Of course, everybody does, but they fight, and they fight hard. So I just want to keep them doing that.
How tough is it, excuse me, for guys like Dominic Robinson and Tyler Scott to stay as motivated as they are and try as hard in practice when they're not playing for 10 weeks or something like that?
Yeah, I can only imagine it's probably really hard, but I don't know. I had to give those guys a ton of credit because it's how they were raised, and we're lucky because we got guys that have the right character, and then it's up to us as coaches to pull out all of the good stuff to get them to develop, But you want to have the right people in the building first. Obviously, they got to have talent, and then they got to be able to sustain that. Like, that's a great question you asking, Larry, because like it's how they were raised. It's almost like, for me, I think about how I was raised. Like, my dad's passed, like, but God rest his soul, but he raised me to always stay the course, to be focused, to push forward. So I've actually lived like what they're living, not in the NFL level, but from a collegiate standpoint. I was a walk on. I went to school on an academic scholarship. I was a walk on, and I had to wait. And I had to wait, and I had to wait, and I had to wait. And I finally got an opportunity to eventually play, 10, you know, 10 games into maybe the second season I was there. First season I redshirted. So like I had to wait a year to play, but then I never didn't have the opportunity to play again. I played for the rest of the years. But if I had not been ready for my opportunity, and it's really not about me, it's just what I'm saying is I lived through that lens. So it's easy for me to be in this role and help them do that. Because when I got my opportunity, I made enough plays to where the coaches let me keep playing. And I share those stories with them because they might only get one opportunity. You know what I mean?
Richard, a question about Kyle Shanahan. You saw him as both as a coordinator and a head coach, right?
Yep.
I'm curious, when he was a coordinator, did you see head coaching qualities in him? I don't know if he was, I know he was like a hot property because he was a good offensive coordinator, but did you see him as having head coaching qualities that are kind of come to fruition as he's become, successful?
Yeah, that's a interesting question, Mark. And I know you know this, but I'll tell you when I saw it. I saw head coaching qualities in Kyle my senior year in college because we were teammates. We played together at the University of Texas. So I always knew he would be a coach, and I always knew he wanted to be a coach. I know he'd be good at it if he tried to do it, and he was just so detailed and disciplined in the way he ran his routes as a player, as a wide receiver, because we're in the same position room at times, that it was just in him that way. And then when he became a coordinator, he was always, I saw him become a position coach first,
Okay.
and he was always designing the offense then to become a coordinator. And then when he became a coordinator, he was always thinking about, what he would do if he became a head coach.
Was there anything that showed he could command the whole team? You know what I'm saying? That's really the curious part about it, because they're so focused on their one side, but now he's coach of everybody, he's whole, you know.
Yeah, he's just he was really personable in terms of dealing with everybody in the locker room. So I'm talking about as a player.
Right.
So I already knew that he could deal and reach any type of person just because of the way he got along with everybody. So I thought he would be successful at anything he wanted to do in life. You know what I mean? Like some people just have like it. Like Blackwell's like that. He has it. So whatever Blackwell wants to do, if he want to play gunner, he'll play gunner. If he want to go coach, he'll be a good coach. If he wants to study medicine, he can be a damn good. So does that answer your question?
Howie Long said that about Russell Wilson.
Yeah, well, you see what he's doing.
He said if that guy wanted to be president, he could be. I mean, because he saw that, it was interesting.
Yeah.
Some guys just have it, whatever it is. It is.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, happy holidays to you all. Thank you. Appreciate it.